citizens' comments. I'm going to take a roll call vote this evening of my fellow members of the Board of Selectmen. Robin Hunter, present.
Dave Haviland, present.
Pam Hudson, present.
And so now we will go to the first item on the agenda, which is citizens' comments.
The only citizen is Kay, waiting patiently for the next agenda item.
Right. So I guess we could bring her in. I don't see anybody else either. Okay. So they're being, oh, look at this. We're 4 minutes ahead of schedule. So this being the case, we will move to item 1.1, which is a presentation and update by the Board of Health regarding various activities and events. And with us this evening is Kay Peterson, the chair of the Board of Health. Welcome, Kay.
Thank you very much. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
So I am not going to talk about the pandemic. I'm sure you're relieved to hear that. I want to update you about the Board of Health in the context of what's happening in local and regional public health in Massachusetts, because it's about more than just us. And so I'll give you an overview of the recent past. That's going to be quick, and then I'll talk about what specifically the Board of Health has been doing. So during the pandemic, and this is all I'll say about it, in 2021, the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Health engaged Community Paradigm to do a review, an evaluation of the Board of Health. They issued recommendations in 2022, which included, first of all, instead of using multiple different independent contractors to provide inspectional services for us for septic well, summer camps, food establishments, etc., that we hire a single full-time health agent who ultimately became a director to do all of that work. And they also recommended that we hire a part-time nurse, public health nurse, to share with Sherburne. And the last was that we shift the responsibility for overseeing day-to-day operations of the Board of Health from board members to the health director and the public health nurse. And then also simultaneously with this, and actually starting a little earlier, at the state level, the Department of Public Health in 2019 issued something called a Blueprint for Public Health Excellence. And I just want to say that Denise Garlick, our representative, was very instrumental in producing this. And that this is a document that was designed to, well, the recommendations were designed to improve the effectiveness and efficiency of public health in Massachusetts, where most public health has been done at the level of the municipality, and there are 351 in the state, so that's not so efficient, really. And the quality and range of service that's offered is highly variable throughout the state. In 2024, Governor Healy signed into law something called the State Action for Public Health Excellence, or SAFE 2.0. I don't know what the 2.0 means. I mean, it's the second version.
Version 2, I guess.
Version 2, yes. And the purpose of that was to strengthen accountability, transparency, and quality of and capacity of public health services. And this was something that was funded to a significant extent. So things like performance standards, workforce development, data systems, and something important, shared services were promoted by this. So we ended up being invited to join the Charles River Public Health District, which was created in 2022, actually before the funding was really finalized. And we agreed to join that group, which consists of Dover, Medfield, Sherburne, and Needham. The purpose of this group is to promote collaboration among the or towns in areas of communicable disease control, environmental health, um, maternal and child health, and vaccinations, other areas, but those are the big ones. So we in Dover in November of 2022, we hired Jason Belmonte, who became our health director, and his work in an overview has been to consolidate all the inspectional services that I described before, to supervise the admins in our office, to oversee day-to-day operations, and to be available to handle the inevitable, mundane, and very weird problems that come to the Board of Health, uh, so that a professional public health person is doing that instead of the Board of Health members. So I'll just give you some examples of recent activities that Jason's been involved in, and it's important, I think, accomplishments over the past year or two. We've done some work on our tobacco regulations. We capped the number of tobacco licensees in the town at 2, so that we can never have more than that without a change in our regulation. And we most recently enacted a generational nicotine ban that I would say it was about a month ago that we enacted. And just to say that we're not quite in the vanguard, but I think we're around the 20th municipality in the state to do this. And we got a very nice shout out at the Massachusetts Health Officers Association annual meeting about a month ago. It was really nice to hear. And somebody overheard the statement, even little Dover was able to do this, whatever
That
that
is
means.
amazing
Yeah,
recognition.
it is. It's really
Right.
nice. So he's also worked on trash hauler regulations, not so interesting as nicotine regulation, but important for us. He's played a role in the online permitting um, rollout, which has been a lot of work, and is, I think, going to be very important to us in terms, as you know. Well, I mean, you all have been very involved in making sure that happened. Jason's really good at mentoring of interns and administrative staff, and he has, I think, he, he he brought in Suzanne as a very young administrative person, and I think mentored her very nicely. And of course, then she left us and moved on to.
Yeah, we thank you for
Yeah,
that.
I was gonna say he did such a good job, we stole her. So
I know it's a blessing and a curse. But the other thing Jason has done is he's responded very favorably when students in local public health programs have reached out about doing internships. And he's brought a couple of them into the office to do internships.
oh wow.
They've been very
Oh,
helpful to us. And
And hopefully healthy.
yes, and healthy. Yeah, making all of us healthy. And we're hoping one of them is now working for us as a part-time admin, and another has gone on to a full-time public health position in another town. So he's very good at that, and he's also in our shared services group they have an environmental services collaborative, and he takes the lead in that, and he mentors new people who are junior to him in the area of environmental services, particularly with septic systems. So I feel very proud of his work that way, and certainly we benefit as well. So I would say that the other thing we've been working on is beginning to talk about PFAS. We're not solving that problem. We'll let you know when we do, but it's something that's been on our radar, and Jason's very interested in this, as well as other water issues in town, particularly with respect to the adequacy of our wells and the water quality. He's begun digitizing records too, for us, having the admins get involved in that, though it's a slow process. Then in February of this year, we hired Gail Varsa, our public health nurse. This took a long time to happen because we needed to work out an agreement among the shared services program, Sherburne, and ourselves, about how the what the arrangement would be, the funds flow, and we had to have agreements and so forth. But finally, we hired somebody. So Gail works for us 25 hours a week and 15 hours a week for shared services, but they assign her to Sherburne. But she could be called to help out in another community if needed. So her responsibility is the whole realm of communicable disease control and also prevention of disease and injury. And she's involved in both those respects and thinking about immunizations in the town. So specifically, some of the things she's been involved in have been CPR training, which she
I
has.
was an attendee
Oh, you were an attendee.
and was
Good.
really quite impressed by the presentations.
Great. So what she's doing is uh, she's developed programs in hands-only CPR, which turns out to be a way to convince people to get involved. Many people who are bystanders to cardiac arrest, if they think they have to do mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, are very unwilling to get involved. But if they've learned about hands-only CPR, which is way better than nothing, and also they also teach people to use AEDs, it can make a big difference. So she and Jason have been working on AED placement around the town. They purchased some more. They're making sure that they're in the right spots, and we'll be working also on getting Narcan, naloxone stationed around the town in various places near the AEDs. She does blood pressure clinics at the Council on Aging. She helps with complex cases in which a nurse can be helpful. And the thorniest cases are hoarding cases where there are often medical psychiatric problems that are happening and at the same time as the actual hoarding. So she's been involved in some of those cases. She partners with the school nurses about complex cases, and she works with them on vaccinations to some extent. She does camp inspections for us. She collaborates with the local hospitals, Needham, and also with Newton Wellesley, which are our two closest hospitals. And importantly, she's involved in making sure that we have vaccine clinics when we need it. But our goal is to be able to do our own clinics without having to bring in a pharmacy. And for that, we need to hire a medical director. And that's a stumbling block a bit right now because we're trying to do that as a shared services group and have the medical director be hired by shared services, not come out of our budget, but out of shared services. And that person would work for the four towns. It's a very part-time position, but necessary in order to have the nurse be able to administer vaccines. So you'll be hearing more about that, I'm sure, soon. And her job is really in part to get to know people so that they reach out when they have an issue that she can be of help with. And that's happening as she meets people in blood pressure clinics and CPR courses and so forth. She's going, by the way, to become a CPR instructor so that we don't have to hire somebody from outside to come in and teach the courses. Obviously the other big change is that board members like myself don't have to get involved in day-to-day operations, which filled up my time during the pandemic and filled up a lot of Jerry Clark's time, but it's much better to have a public health professional doing those things. Just a few other thoughts about plans for the future. I've mentioned some already, but we're going to be working with shared services on tobacco compliance monitoring. There are there are programs that are sponsored by some public health regional groups to send in uh, a young person to try to buy cigarettes or whatever, and it's a great way of ensuring that you have good compliance in your community. As I mentioned, we want to get involved in water, and we are going to be presenting something, putting something on the warrant about a bylaw that would allow us to have an associate board member. So you'll hear more about that as well. I think my time is up. Do you want to have any questions for me?
Certainly you have taken to heart the study and the Board of Health, based upon the activities you have described, has really become more of a professional organization than it ever was before. And I think it makes it easier for volunteers now to volunteer because we have professionals that are actually doing the work that needs to get done. And then what's amazing, and a shout out to Jason, he also was instrumental in the implementation of our online permitting system. So
Mhm.
he's been a huge asset to the town in very many ways. So,
Yes.
we appreciate everything that he has done, and we certainly appreciate all the mentoring he did of Suzanne.
Mhm.
She's been a tremendous asset to the Board of Selectmen's office.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Well, I just want to say that we owe this transformation to the Board of Selectmen, and because you obviously were looking to professionalize things in town in general, but also at the Board of Health, and you supported this consultation by Community Paradigm, which was key for us. And they really hit the nail on the head with their recommendations, which are very much in line with what's considered the standard for public health. So anyway, thank you for supporting that. We
No,
it's
Okay,
transformed.
right.
thank you for a very informative address, and I've learned quite a bit from tonight, so thank you for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
And
you intrigued
oh,
me but sorry, Dad.
go ahead.
You intrigued me by saying you want to get into water soon. Could you elaborate a little bit more on what that actually means?
Well,
Quality is there.
quality.
Right.
Well, and
Mhm.
some
The
we're
PFAS issue.
Right.
yeah, the PFAS and other issue. I mean, there are neighborhoods in Dover in which the
Right.
lot sizes are so small that there isn't the ideal separation between septic field and well.
Mhm.
It's somewhat marginal, and sometimes we see things we don't want to see in well water reports. So that that we're concerned about the septic impact on our water quality as well, but also PFAS.
Yeah. And I should also add that I'm very impressed by Gail. I think she's a great acquisition, and I appreciate that as well.
Yeah. Yes.
Thanks, Dave, for your patience.
Yeah, no worries. I was just wanted to say great job with the standing up to all of the lobbyists that came in on when you I can't think of the name of it right now. The date limitation.
Yeah. Nicotine-free generation regulation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just for everyone's edification, there were two young Dover residents who spoke, and both were very articulate. News to me, one on either side, but then there was just this flood of association members of convenience stores on a national level and on a regional level, and then other residents of Dover began to speak up. So the last six or seven were all very positive. And then you guys were able to seize the moment and do the right thing. So
Well,
it,
thanks for being there, and it was nice to see you in the in the hearing, paying attention.
well,
Appreciate it.
I didn't need to say anything because you guys had done a great job and the momentum was there. So I stayed silent, but I was ready if
Thank you.
I was too, Dave.
oh right, yeah, I was just holding back, going, all right, let's.
Well, just so you know, today we received a FOIA request from someone from the New England Convenience Stores Association wanting to see everything we have about our discussion about this. So we're not done.
Mhm.
I thought we were, but well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you for doing it, and
Okay.
someone on the webinar said that tobacco is the only product that basically kills half of its users. So
Yeah.
that's doing the right thing.
Yes, it is. And it has no value either. Yeah.
And the
All
other
right.
thing I think that came through in that was that really it starts with young people.
Yes.
That rarely does somebody in their 30s decide, oh, I'm going to start smoking now. It's the younger generation that we really need to protect.
Yeah. It's in that vulnerable window when young people are legally adult but not neurologically adult.
Mhm.
It's important to protect them from all sorts of things, but in particular addiction is
Yeah.
important.
Indeed.
Well, thank you for all of that.
Okay. Thank you very much for all of your support. And thanks for inviting me to talk so long.
You're
So
welcome.
on
Have a great
happy
night and a
holidays.
wonderful holiday.
Right.
Thank you. You too.
Happy New Year.
Same to you.
All right, so the next item of business is a discussion and vote regarding reducing the Board of Selectmen membership size study committee from 7 to 5. And I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Havland, who has had quite a roller coaster ride trying to get this committee back up and running.
Okay, so here's my good news. I have gotten a fifth.
Okay, excellent.
So we're now back on the positive, so we would have five.
Oh, I thought you
But
said taken the fifth, Dave. Sorry.
oh yeah, that might be next. So, but the idea is that we are really struggling to get 7 members of this committee, and we would like to get going and meet our obligation to town meeting. And there's no etched in stone reason to have 7. I think that was just a number that was picked.
Right.
And if we can go down to 5, I think we can get going and start meeting in January and
Hire
well,
the consultant.
yeah, hire the consultant, get this done.
Right.
Because we need to. I mean, it's been too long. Everyone's been very patient. And yet, if we can't get 2 more people to serve, then let's get going with 5 and at least get the work done.
Yeah.
You know, I can't remember how we came up with 7, but the most important thing is that we have an odd number. And I think 5 will be a great number. And I completely agree with you, Dave. We just need to get this going. It's almost an embarrassment, but at the same time, it's not for lack of effort. I mean, you you know, once we restarted, I mean, every time you thought you had 7, then 2 more would resign. So it really has been. I mean, I know we joked about it, but
I
oh,
was beginning to take
I
it personally.
commend you
So,
for having 7, for having 5.
so
So
well, I thank the members, and I think the who's on it is really willing to get going. So that would be my request. I wouldn't say recommendation, but request.
okay. So can
Yes, and I'm completely in agreement with that. Let's just get it done rather than waiting for
another
some
2.
number of people
Right.
that we're struggling to get. So.
So I'm going to move to approve reducing the Board of Selectmen membership size study committee from 7 members to 5 members.
Second.
All in favor? I, Robin Hunter.
Hi, Dave Haviland.
Hi, Cam Hudson.
All right. Well, thank you, Dave.
Well,
And
thank you. That's this. Now we get to go.
which is great. So item 1.3 on our agenda is a discussion and vote regarding the Tree Preservation Committee Stormwater Bylaw Informational Mailer in resident tax bills. And I'm going to hand this over to Mike, but as you all know, the stormwater bylaw was passed at town meeting, not this past town meeting, right? The town meeting before. And there's been a lot of confusion about this bylaw, and we've needed to do a lot more education than we had expected. And so I think it makes a lot, and we've tried a lot of different ways to reach members of the community. And this is a way, this is just another way for us to do it. So I'll turn it over to Mike.
Thanks, Ron. I think you mostly said it all. I think Val might be in the attendees, so if it's Val, I'm gonna move her over just for a minute.
Yeah, I just see Dover planning.
Yeah, I don't know, might be her, we'll see. But Val was instrumental in her committee in pushing this initiative to really push
Oh,
the
it is Val.
initiative. She really spearheaded this effort. And then also thanks to Suzanne, who took the information and made it as attractive and pretty as you see in your packet.
I know the flyer is beautiful.
Yeah, so I think it'll be great. So to Robin's point, this will be included in an upcoming tax bill. So we hope that gets a lot of eyes, that people will see it. We also intend to distribute this or similar information on like a flyer at the public buildings. Suzanne's working with Bethany to distribute the library as people get library cards. We're also working, I think the board's aware, on kind of a new resident welcome packet with all sorts of information, everything from getting stickers to how to register to vote, but including this. So we're really going to try to get out as many ways as possible, in addition to all our social media channels, website, etc.
So Val, anything to add?
You guys did a great job. Thank you. Yeah, we've also sent a flyer directly to some of the tree vendors who do work in Dover. And we have received a couple questions, clarifying questions back. So I think that this flyer going out to the residents will be even more helpful, because sometimes it's just residents who would like to remove a tree or two in their yard and are unsure if they're going to trigger some sort of a request for a permit or need for a permit. So this will help bring some clarity, I hope, to some of those questions.
Right, and I mean, given that we have 200 people show up to town meeting, there's a handful of people that I think don't even know that we have this bylaw.
Yeah.
So I think it makes a lot of sense, because it's a lot easier to check with the town engineer before you start a project than having to remediate the project.
Yes,
You just
absolutely.
weren't aware of what the bylaw
Correct.
said.
Yes, yeah. I'm hopeful, like using all of these different modes of communication to all the residents in Dover, that we will hopefully reach the vast majority of them. And for those that we don't, hopefully neighbors will spread the word. And we're hoping at hopefully some point within the next 6 months or so that we will have a public forum where we can talk about a lot of the tree bylaws. We are waiting to bring a consultant on board to help us with that public forum.
And Val, did you also send these to realtors?
Yes,
in
they
Dover?
will
Okay.
be going to realtors those as
Right.
well. Yeah.
And not just in Dover, like there's
Right.
in Westwood and
yes, in the
Wellesley,
entire
etc.
surrounding
Right.
area. Anyone that that we are aware of who has been doing business or who could be doing real estate business in Dover. We're trying to capture as many as we can.
And I'm a member of the, well, liaison with the Concom, and I'm sure they will thank you very much for making it more clearly. I'm astonished at how much of the time the Concom is involved with people who haven't followed the bylaws on
Yes,
tree management. So
right.
hopefully you'll save them a lot of work.
And
Yes, that
many
would be great.
people just don't know. I mean, they don't know
Right,
that they're doing anything wrong.
Right, right.
You know,
right.
we had this
I,
landscape architect do like a plan for us, and she said that 50% of her business is helping people correct things that they did that are
right.
against bylaws. She said
Yes.
ignorance keeps her busy.
Right. And the other interesting thing is that one discovers when one sort of gets in more insight into this whole issue is that ignorance of the law is certainly no excuse, but
Right.
a lot of people seem to think that, well, I'll do it and hopefully nothing's going to happen. And then they discover that it becomes a lot more complex. So
Right.
I think it's really advisable for people to get the advice up front, because in the end, you might, it might cost you a lot more.
Right.
And we will also continue running a couple paragraphs in the electronic newsletter that gets sent out each month, reminding people and giving them the ability to click on a link and get access to the bylaws that way as well.
Yes, that's actually was going to be one of my tweaks or requests is to add a website link to this actual flyer
Okay.
as well as a QR code
Okay.
uh, for those of us who are paranoid about QR codes.
Okay.
And then is it also, I don't know if there's enough room, but just mention the online permitting system. Have questions, please go here and to the Dover online permitting system, which would also probably cover the tree removal, scenic road tree removal, Concom tree removal. In other words, it's a broader catch once you go to that online permitting system. So sorry, Suzanne, I probably just messed up weeks of work, but those are two suggestions. And then just as an update while you're here, Val, the Sustainability Committee is working on a tree replacement policy using the mass approved list of native species as well as drought resistant native species. And we're right now they're tilting on two lists, going to the mass this is allowable, but Mass Audubon has said, don't do these. So they've got a do not list,
Oh,
Oh,
which is
interesting.
even
that's
easier and
really
faster to
helpful.
check.
Right.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
so in any event, that will be coming, but this is all beginning to gel very nicely with all the land use committees and finally educating and hopefully stopping the 80 and 100-foot trees from coming down and people going, oh, sorry, I didn't know.
Right. Right. Exactly. That's what we're hoping to make some progress with. So,
Yep.
yes. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Well, thank you, everyone. So I guess, Mike, you actually need us to vote on this.
Yep. So
I'm gonna move to approve the Tree Preservation Committee's request to insert into the resident tax bills an informational mailer regarding Dover's new tree protections, the stormwater management bylaw, and stormwater permitting.
Second.
All in favor? Aye, Robin Hunter.
Hi, Dave Haviland.
I Ken Hudson.
Excellent. Well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for your support.
So,
thanks,
Thank
Val.
you,
Not at all.
Suzanne, as well, for your creativeness.
Yes.
She's great. She's great.
Well, thank you all.
All right. So the next item are Board of Selectmen updates. So I will provide I feel as though we just had a meeting. Did we?
Yes, we did. So I don't know if any of us have a ton of updates, but yes.
Right.
I've
I
actually, I had a busy week, so
Okay, so I have a few quick updates. The first one is the Dover housing the Dover Housing Task Force. So we meet every Wednesday, the last Wednesday of the month. We have hired a consultant, which is the Barrett Consulting Group, to help us with the housing study. They are actually in the process of helping us set up a website that's going to link to the town website with a lot of information about the um, the the study. It's also going to be a way to reach out to the public to get more public engagement. So we're really excited. They gave us a quick peek at what it would look like, and so that was really exciting. And we're really looking forward to working with the Barrett Group. We should also have a timeline for the project, and we will also begin to publish community information sessions, because a key part of this study is going to be to have community engagement, to understand what is acceptable for the community when it comes to more diversified housing stock. Also, I received a call from Toll Brothers this week as well. They have contingent purchase and sale agreements on 2 parcels of land on Junction Street. The total acreage approximates 50 acres, and they are interested in potentially building an over 55 active community there. Right now, their plan would be to put in 66 standalone homes, with first story master bedroom suites. It's an idea right now. There's a lot of work that would need to get done, but they want to work with the town, and so the town planner, they also reached out to her. We're going to have an initial meeting with them most likely in January, and certainly, this concept that they have come up with, it will dovetail what we're trying to do at the Dover Housing Partnership, or the Dover Housing Task Force. So, all it's all coming together maybe a little faster than we had hoped, but it's they Toll Brothers really wants to work with the town, and they recognize that if this is something the town doesn't want to do, it's going to be hard to do. But for us, there are 2 large lots that homeowners are looking to sell.
Right.
Um,
And the other aspect of that, I think, is that if we have residents that are feeling that their current housing is too large for them, they could migrate and then make
exactly.
housing available for others. So I
Right.
think that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Right. Again, it's just the beginning of a very long process. They're very excited, and they would like, because we would need to have a bylaw, and they would like to have it on the May town meetings warrant. I'm not sure we can do all the work that needs to happen by then. So, we're
Mhm.
gonna talk to them and see what the options are, and figure out, exactly what they want to do and whether it's feasible and all that kind of stuff. And then the last item also to do with housing is, I think you are both aware that we received an application for a 40B on Strawberry Hill Road, and what they're trying to do there is 20 townhomes. Is that correct, Mike?
Yes.
And there was the walkthrough with Mass Housing occurred this week. And Mike will fill you in, but he did manage to get an extension for us to respond to them.
I apologize, Robin. I froze out for most of that second part. Is there anything I need to hear?
It's just that we received a 40B application for Strawberry Hill.
That I knew, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And And what they want to do is a 20 home community.
Okay, thank you.
And the town will respond that Mike was able to get us an extension only because it's just the holiday season and we just have so much going on. And Mike can fill us in on that. But that's all I have.
All right. So I quickly pinch hit at warrant last night. What they're trying to do is increase attendance at the open hearing, and we're discussing ways of trying to get that. So if anyone has any ideas to help, please let Woody know.
I'm sure
Zoom.
Suzanne could help.
Yeah.
My suggestion would be to have a Zoom meeting. I don't know if it's possible, but I think you just get a lot more community engagement.
Yeah, I somehow think that's one of those meetings that has to be held in person. I'm not sure because I remember we were considering that a couple of years ago and Jim put his foot down.
Okay.
But
It
yes,
is
it'd be
the
worth
dry run
exploring at
for
least.
town meetings. So, I mean, literal physical oops, I didn't know that, or what have you, do get ironed out. And it gives the public a chance to speak. What I'm wondering if we could at least go hybrid on that in other meetings. Um, but that requires technology that's above and beyond what we have, is my understanding, unless the community center meeting room could allow us to kind of do both.
I don't think it's big enough.
Probably not, but
Um,
that
it might be big enough, depending on attendance, but I think as the board may know, the technology that's really needed was cut out of the project, so we don't have true hybrid software in the new building, particularly for that room. So I don't know that it would be a good idea to test it out at that big of a
Right.
meeting.
Right. It might be an idea for us to consider acquiring that software and presenting it to the town meeting in May.
it's definitely something to look at. That's a good idea, Cam. All right, my up. So let's the other thing that the warrant's looking at is to have all the boards and committees identify and track 2 or 3 key performance indicators or KPIs to allow measurable progress or learn of measurable backwardization. And so that was the main part of the meeting. I've already given you the main sustainability item, but there's one more, and that is sustainability. There's actually 2 grants, and I finally got this straightened out last night. There's a TAP grant, which goes up to 15,000, and they look for matching funds there of 50%. And then there's an MVP grant, which has 2 parts. Both are aimed at allowing a town to create a climate action plan, which is part of the state initiative. We are one of the last towns to do it, so I think this has a good chance of coming to fruition. Um, and sustainability talked about because Janet Bowser was in attendance, and she has also volunteered to join the committee. And Janet says she's done this with several other towns professionally and believes that about 75,000 will be the total cost for the town to do a plan. And if we get 50% of 15 and the 50,000 on the MVP grant, 57.5 of the 75 would be paid for. And we're going to have to work with sustainability on how we wish to word that warrant article. Is it going to be contingent upon a minimum amount of funding? How is that going to move forward? Because both grants were literally submitted the evening of their due dates. And if we want to really get behind this, we've got to learn more about how we can support it, which is a letter written either by the Board of Selectmen and or Mike, and let the state know that we're serious. But this was done so fast and furious. quite literally at the last moment. I mean, my last communication with Anna was at 9:15, and she pushed the button and submitted it by midnight. So that's where we are there. So more to come, but I just wanted to let you know what those are. And uh, sustainability has more acronyms that I have no idea what they mean than any other committee I've ever served on. So and they're like the TAP grant, the MVP grant. I'm like, you got to slow down. What does that mean? So
So they're going to make
anyway,
you a book of glossary terms.
yeah, exactly. Um, the Carroll Community Center, they're hoping to wrap up. We'll cover more about that in the executive session, given some of the sensitive topics. We already spoke about 3 to 5, and the fifth member is Chuck Debevoise. I don't know if you both know him, I think.
I
Um,
do.
He lives in my neighborhood.
yes, yes. Um, And then the final one, which was another good long meeting to support Joanne and Chris, is the financial working group. One, you talk about a gift from heaven. Robin, do you remember that the Board of Selectmen hired the Collins Center back in like 2019 to do a study to come up
Right.
with some
And
suggested.
we actually got a grant for that. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
So, well, here we are going, all right, we're going to have to go through, do we even have any policies and procedures? And Chris pulls out, he goes, well, we have 20 of them. There's
right.
29 pages of them, but they've never been implemented. So we're going to go through with your concurrence. Gavin and I will go through and find some. I'm going to use the words easier ones, lighter lifting that we could immediately implement. The only one that was kind of implemented, but it's not this exact wording, was our free cash policy. And my understanding is our current free cash policy is actually lower than the state recommended. And I would personally like to see that go back to the state recommended minimum.
Yeah.
So that's the type of thing. Um, Let me ask you, Robin and Mike, well, and Cam too, but how do you want us to kind of proceed on this? Is our we'll take 2 or 3 at a time and bring them forth, or would you like to do the whole thing and bring that forth? And you don't have to answer right now, but if you could just give it some thought in how you would like us to proceed with these, because obviously, one, they're important, and two, it affects the town and our operations.
Well,
I'd be very interested in getting a look at what the recommendations are so I could make a better judgment on that.
weren't you on that committee, Cam?
No,
Oh, I thought you were on it from the members. I thought you were one of the members of the Warren Committee on there.
no, I wasn't.
Good.
All right.
It,
Well, it's
it was
information
might well
only,
have
so
been
I
before
can
I
send those.
became
Yeah,
chair.
maybe it was even before you were on Warren.
Well, I was on it for 6 years, so I was certainly a member at the time.
Right.
But
Because it was
um,
definitely somebody from Warren.
yeah, it might have been one of my predecessors.
Right.
Yeah, because it could have been 17 or 18 and delivered in 19.
Hmm.
Right.
So,
I would think I know you and Gavin are working with the team, and I'm sure they're prioritizing these, but it's a lot easier to implement policies one at a time rather than all at once. So
Hmm.
if you need, if it needs the Board of Selectmen's approval, then I would say bring them piecemeal so that they can be implemented, as soon as they've been vetted by everyone.
exactly. And some of them, I'm sure, are going to need more than just the Board of Selectmen. Maybe the warrant committee should be weighing in, and others. So, this is what I'll do then. I will work through Mike to communicate with you two on which ones we're going to look at and what might be needed, and we'll try the low-hanging fruit first, if there's such a thing. Truthfully, I just got these and I haven't read them yet. So,
Okay.
um, all right, so that's that. The investments, Joanne has done a great job. I can now say that The vast majority of the money that was not bearing interest that could is now bearing interest in a money market account. So that's tens of millions of dollars. So it's a lot of money. Um, and she has also moved over from Bank of New York Mellon and the other one, which just left my brain, the previous managers. And a couple of observations. Uh, Enough of the portfolios were in investments that I would call junk, not junk bonds, but just such illiquid that it has taken months to get the money to move over because they had trouble liquidating what was in our accounts. So Rockland is not going to be doing that anymore. One of these policies is the type of investments that are allowable in our accounts. Maybe I'll do that one first. And the other observation that Joanne has gotten, and she goes, it's kind of disgusting, is the amount of these vendors, past banks that we're no longer using, who literally uttered the words, "Well, Dover can afford it." So they were charging extra fees or giving lower rates because, well, oh, it's Dover. And suffice to say that Joanne's doing a great job at removing that kind of vendor from our stream. And so it's slow moving because Joanne has so much to do. So that's why the policies is something that we all can work on outside of asking Joanne to do work. Does that make sense? So, but good progress. We're moving forward, and if Chris can just get well, it will move even faster. So that's that. I told you.
Is that it?
Yes, thank you.
I just had a couple. We had a meeting of the pedestrian safety committee meeting this week, and we have decided to basically run in two directions, basically, perhaps at the same time, but we're giving priority to pedestrian safety at Chickering, and then thinking of the broader question about sidewalks in town and what we might want to recommend to the planning board to set up some standard criteria that we can use to evaluate and make public to people, so they also understand that any oddball request may not meet with approval.
That makes a
So
lot of sense.
so we're at the moment we're focusing on the Chickering safety, and I know that Kevin is working closely with the schools to do an evaluation of whether we can, with some small tweaks to the layout of Chickering entrance and exits, to make it a little bit safer for kids in the immediate neighbourhood. I think these schools have probably, with history on their side, basically taken the viewpoint that this is a busing school and everybody goes by bus, even if they're only 100 yards from the school. But we also know that kids are not going to be that patient, and we need to make sure that those kids who really are desperate to get to school and not wait for the school bus have a safe path for doing so. And I think the other aspect of that is that after school, that area, the Chickering School playground area is very attractive for kids to go to after school sports and all sorts of other things. And so we need to consider the access to those places in a safe fashion. Mike, I'm not sure if you would add anything else to the outcome. We are considering other measures that may involve coming back to the Board of Selectmen to consider putting in flashing lights or whatever else, but we aren't there yet.
Yeah, the only thing is that you had mentioned the Chickering, but we're also simultaneously looking things around the DS regional school as well. So
Exactly.
the two schools will be that first priority.
My bad. Yes. No, that's absolutely right.
Cam, I could
Um,
be wrong, but I am almost positive that the planning board has a sidewalk policy. It may be
They
woefully out of
do.
date.
It's rather old, and we
Yeah.
had looked at that, and
Okay.
it doesn't really provide clear criterion as to, when a sidewalk is appropriate and when not, and
Right. I
what
just
the
wanted to make sure you
evaluation
knew about
criteria
it.
should
That's
be.
all.
But yes, I do know about that.
Okay, great. And I like
Um,
your approach. Deal with the
yeah,
safety around the schools first and then tackle.
yeah. The only other issue I wanted to raise is I sent you all the MBTA report on local government finances today, and they are proposing to, or they are going to ask the state to recommend that. More flexibility on the 2.5 proposition 2.5, and also to increase grants, unencumbered grants to towns. We'll see how that develops, but I'm wondering whether it might be a good idea for us to consider reaching out to our representatives to encourage them to support such a thing.
Well, you know,
That would-
Josh has office hours in Dover, so we can certainly talk to him about that.
Mhm.
And Becca is also very open to reaching out. So
Right.
It
Yeah, that
does
was
make
all I
sense.
had.
I mean, Prop 2.5 is great when inflation is benign. But when it's not, it becomes very difficult, even for very well-run towns, to control its costs.
Right, and that report sort of indicates, that the reality is that in real terms, we've got much smaller margin than 2.5% increase because of inflation, and the real increase across the state has only been about 0.6% a year, which is perhaps, and as the MMA reported, is perhaps too narrow and needs to be re-looked at it, so it isn't quite the restraint that was originally envisaged.
well, I saw it. I haven't read it yet, so we would have to
Yeah,
read it.
but that was all I had to say. And we spent more time on member reports tonight than we have for some time. So I apologize for that.
Sorry.
No, not your fault. We all
Right,
had stuff to report.
right. So what have you done, Mike, that we didn't steal your thunder?
Yeah, no, most of it's still, but no, I have a couple of things. So, Robin, I'm sorry if you mentioned, did you mention the rail trail meeting?
I forgot.
Yeah, so just so the board public knows, that process continues to move forward. We're strategizing now in terms of the next public information session where we can reveal more information on the design status and some estimated costs, things like that. So that will be coming. We don't have a date yet, but hopefully earlier in the new year, that next phase will start with another public meeting. I also just wanted to mention we had a very nice holiday lunch for employees here. And just wanted to especially thank Mona and Robin Tessino who put that together. It was very well received, just a nice time for some employees to stop and chat and hang out before the holiday season. And also, I had a chance to pop over last week to the Park and Rec tree lighting, and just wanted to thank Mark and Nicole and Maddie on his staff. It was a really cool event, had a really great turnout. People were very excited because they were inside the community center until they lit the tree. So I guess in the past they've always been all outside and very cold. And it was a pretty cold day, and they had a really awesome waffle truck. And I resisted having a waffle, but man, did they look good, and they smelled.
I don't know how I miss, notification of this stuff. It's like I'm in
Yeah.
some meeting.
Read your newsletter, Robin.
I do, but I Yeah.
No matter how good we communicate, I don't-
Mike, you need to put waffles in all caps. Then she'll
yeah,
be
that would
there.
have done it.
So,
I need calendar invites. Are you hearing this, Mona and Suzanne?
So,
Anything that has to do with waffles, send me a calendar invite.
so thanks to Park and Rec for that. And then lastly, again, I think the board knows, but just to say it here, we're looking to schedule a joint meeting with the planning board in early January. We're still trying to finalize that date. I think Ken and Dave said you were available on the 5th. Robin, did that work for you?
Yeah, I was just gonna say the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, I might be out of town.
Okay. The other thing we'll do is we'll probably I'll ask Mona to help me send around a date check, as I believe it might have been Dave. Someone wasn't available for our scheduled meeting on the 22nd.
me. That's
Okay, yeah.
me.
So we'll work to reschedule that, and we'll avoid your dates, Robin.
Okay.
But other than that, I think everything else we hit on. That's all I had.
Excellent.
Good. Well, thank you for remembering the 22nd because I keep forgetting. I mentioned it way back when I realized I had a conflict, but I'm like, that's coming up.
Yeah, no, that's all Mona. She keeps track of that. So thanks, Mona.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mona.
All right, so then the last item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Are you done, Mike?
Yes, I'm done. Yep.
Okay. And the consent agenda is short. It's to approve 2026 special one-day liquor licenses, the first for 2026 for January 2nd and 3rd. So I'm going to move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor? I, Robin Hunter.
Hi, Dave Haviland.
Hi, Cam Hudson.
All right. And then I am going to move that the board enter into executive session, not to return to open session under Purpose 3 of MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21A, to discuss strategy with respect to threatened litigation over the community center building project related to M.O. Connor Contractors and abutters at 4 and 12 Whiting Road, as an open meeting discussion may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the town.